Right now at 5, a two-county homicide investigation in southwest Missouri leads to a warrant for second-degree murder.
Plus, we've got a pretty cold start to the morning, still above average. However, it is going to be warmer yet today. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, how a Joplin nonprofit not only kept people warm this month, but their four-legged friends as well.
The Four States' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, Four States, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. So we were just reliving the 90s in here right before the show started.
We were really pumping it up.
Oh my gosh, playing some great music down here. You know, unfortunately we can't play it on air because then we'd get in trouble. They'd be like, hey, you can't do that. But I also brought a Windows XP laptop.
All right.
I know, right? Yeah, we're going back in time. It plays a lot of my old games, and I figured, I'd entertain myself. But for you computer folks at home, it doesn't connect to any network, so don't worry, it's not going to be compromised or anything like that. But man, it's nice.
The 90s.
We are going back in time this morning, and we are going back in time to March of last year this week with the temperatures and the weather we've been having out there. Let's take a quick look outside. This is our camera. It is on top of the Cornell complex in downtown Joplin. We got a bit of a southeasterly breeze right now, and it is a bit on the chilly side out there for sure. Got a little colder, but we talked about, when there's no clouds, we don't have that blanket, so we can lose some of that daytime heating. MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line in Joplin also looking pretty good as well as we get our day underway. Skywatch Storm Tracker, again, pretty well clear in our area. There is some patchy fog here and there. Our next little wave down here, and then we'll have additional opportunities for some rain chances as we head into the upcoming weekend. So here's the fog tracker, and you can see there's some patchy dense fog around Fort Scott. Earlier, there was some reported around Pittsburgh. So that's the thing. We don't have any fog advisories, but there is patchy fog out there this morning. Joplin, unfortunately, not currently reporting current conditions, but at the last report, it was about 31 degrees. We're sitting at 28 in Pittsburgh. Kids getting on the bus this morning. We're looking at 33, some fog out there, not for everyone, but for some of us. Partly cloudy skies, east breeze about 5 to 10. And as they head home, sunny skies, 58 with a southwest breeze at 5 to 10. So once the fog burns off, we're going to have sunny skies once again. Temperatures back into the low 60s out there again today as well. We do again have the rain on the way, and we'll talk about when that's going to get here and what it does to our temperatures here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Prosecutors issue a warrant for a second-degree murder in connection with a two-county murder investigation. Authorities served the warrant to this man, Bradley Keith, who was already in jail in connection to the death of 27-year-old Shania Haynes earlier this month. Investigators say on January 17th, Keith led them to a .22 caliber pistol hidden in a log at the end of Vernon County Road 2750. An investigation conducted by Missouri law enforcement resulted in the recovery of Haynes' body from a brush and wood fire in a rural area of Cedar County. Court documents show Haynes' body was moved and placed in the fire on or about January 16th in an attempt to conceal or destroy evidence of a crime. Keith and two other men have already been arrested and charged with tampering with physical evidence in felony prosecution and felony abandonment of a corpse. Several libraries in the Show Me State will soon receive grant money for additional funding. The Missouri Secretary of State announces almost $400,000 will head to 49 summer libraries programs distributed to several libraries in the state. Libraries in our area that will receive grant money include Barton County, Joplin, and McDonald County. These grants provide funding for educational presentations, library materials, and program supplies. And drivers in Pittsburgh may want to seek a detour in the coming days. Beginning today at 9 a.m., West 20th Street between Walnut and Pine will be closed for repairs. Motorists are encouraged to seek alternative routes when possible, to use extreme caution when traveling in the area, and be aware of workers in the work zone. Construction should be completed on Friday, February 2nd. The Department of Veterans Affairs announces the location for a new outpatient clinic in Southeast Kansas. The VA Eastern Kansas Healthcare System's newest clinic will be located on Iola at 1408 East Street. To help area veterans learn about the services offered, the VA will provide information sessions in 4 Southeast Kansas communities. The first will be in Garnet on February 6th, then in Chanute on February 7th, Iola on the 8th, and Fort Scott on the 9th. For more information, visit our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Credo Senior Living in Fort Scott, Kansas held a discussion yesterday about dealing with depression while in a nursing home. Loss of appetite, restless sleep, and isolation are just some symptoms of depression. According to doctors, residents in nursing homes are more prone to depression while adjusting to the facilities.
They get kind of written off, and they have issues just the same as we do. Their symptoms may be a little bit different, but they still need to be addressed. There still needs to be interventions. And I think a lot of times, especially in facilities like nursing homes and assisted livings, those problems are sometimes overlooked.
Credo Senior Living says their events and discussions are open to the community as well. And on cold days that hit the 4 states this month, Mini Hackney Community Service Center of Joplin served as a warming center, not only for the homeless population, but also for their pets. The building in downtown Joplin has a long history of providing shelter for people dating back to the segregation days. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the story.
This place served as a spot where people could come to find out, black people could come to find out where they could buy gas, where they could eat. And if there wasn't enough private lodging during the times of segregation, they were able to lodge here within the walls of this building.
According to Nanda Nunnally, volunteer at Mini Hackney Community Service Center, the building located on Joplin's Main Street has a long history of helping people who were not welcomed in other areas. Almost 80 years after being founded, this center is still a safe space for members of the community. When the temperatures drop in the 4 states area, the location opens its doors as a warming center.
He said, because of you, I survived. I don't know that we would have survived just being out on the street.
To people and to their pets.
They didn't have this shelter. They would just have to stay outside with their animals, or they could go inside, but their animals would be cold. The community helped a lot by bringing in cages for the animals. We had a lot of volunteers. It took a lot of people to get it together, but we made it happen.
With the help of community members, the center offered pet crates. More than 20 people and 10 pets were there over a week.
They were very happy, very thankful. We got a lot of happy faces, and it's nice to see the animals too.
In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
According to the center, the warming center service was provided with no public funding from federal, state, or city help. This Thursday, the service center will host an event to celebrate Langston Hughes' 123rd birthday. You can find more about information on it at KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, we'll see a matchup between COC rivals Webb City and Carthage. Who will come out on top? Plus, how a legendary Viking festival in Scotland adds a new twist this year. And we have another warm and sunny day today. Well, what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Miles. Sign up for Pittsburgh's Meals on Wheels today.
Well, for the second day in a row, nice weather means it's baseball time in the 4 states. Over at Missouri Southern, the Lions were practicing yesterday afternoon with just 48 hours until their season opener on Thursday. MSSU will play 4 games in 4 days as part of the Dugan Invitational in Hot Springs, Arkansas. The first of which is against Southern Arkansas, who the Lions eliminated in the regional playoffs last May. Although 2023 provided some great memories for Lions fans, this year's group is ready to make its own legacy.
Last year is in the rearview mirror, and our guys know that, and nothing's easy, man. And so we have a really difficult first 4 games.
It's a new season from last year, but they saw what we're capable of. So they know we got a high-flying offense, and we're pretty dynamic this year. Last year we relied on the long ball. We can still do that, but we can hit the ball, strike out a little bit less, and our pitching this year is better than it was last year.
I'll just keep working hard the whole year. All offseason will be working hard as a team, as individuals, and just keep stacking days over time, and we'll find a way to get to the playoffs and then Super Regionals, World Series.
Pitt State men's basketball played again last night. The Gorillas had lost 3 in a row until Saturday when they blew out Northeastern State 97-73. Now they're trying to turn that into a winning streak. And the Gorillas do exactly that. They went on the road 63-58 over the Mules. This is PSU's first road win in a month since it beat Lincoln by 17 on December 30th. Marquis English leads the way for the Gorillas. He finishes with a double-double on 15 points and 10 rebounds. Jeff Boshy's group is back in action on Thursday night at Central Oklahoma. A busy night of high school basketball across the 4 states as well, including a matchup between a couple of COC rivals, Webb City and Carthage. Webb City girls basketball at home last night, looking to bounce back off of a loss against Clever, taking on the Carthage Tigers. First quarter, Tigers start off hot. Lauren Choate gets it, and she sinks the floater for 3. Carthage leads Webb City by 9. Cardinals finding their rhythm. Abby Sargent drives and takes the contact to knock it off the glass, and she gets one more. More on her in just a bit. Check out this steal by Sargent. She snags it off the fast break. She assists Mallory Stanley, and she gets the easy 2. Cardinals now down by 2 at half. Well, it gets better for them. Patty Burns gets it off the assist, and she drains it in for 3 points. Webb City leading Carthage by 6. So we go to the fourth quarter. Whitley Keith drives and passes to Abby Sargent. She knocks it off the glass. Sargent finishes the night with 22 points. Carthage never gets the lead back, and Lady Cardinals win it on their senior night, 50-41. And the Webb City boys basketball team began COC play last night against the Carthage Tigers, who defeated them in the Carthage tournament earlier in the season. First quarter, Baron Duda gets to set the tone, gets it and knocks down the floater for 3, and he lets the Tigers know. Webb leads Carthage by 7 after the first, but Carthage looking to claw back. Check this out. Dylan Pugh gets it on their own side of the court, and he launches it from half court and at the buzzer, and he nails it. Lots of celebration. Cardinals still lead by 11 at halftime, and it doesn't get much better. Slade Hurd assists Baron Duda, knocks down the corner 3. Into the third, and the Cardinals have a buzzer beater on their own, or of their own rather. Slade Hurd gets it up to knock down the 3. That's a 22-point lead now for Webb City. And Duda once again, he's not done yet, gets his hands on it, and he drains another 3. And he is hyped. Duda finishes the night with 31 points, and that helps the Cardinals defeat the Tigers 79-50. Well, still to come, we'll see how pigs could be the future of human organ transplants. We'll have those details. Plus, another look at that spring-like forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Discover new opportunities together in a new Chevy.
You're watching KOAM News Now, home of Super Bowl 58.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 5:18 on this Wednesday morning. We're taking a live look from our camera on top of the Cornell complex, and it is a chilly but otherwise pleasant start to the day. We do have some patchy fog out there. We'll talk about that in a moment. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line, also looking pretty good this morning as well. And here in just a moment, the KDOT camera on 69 south of Pittsburgh. I'd be willing to bet it's also looking pretty good. But if you look, there's a wee bit of haze out there. We actually had a brief momentary set in of some dense fog around Pittsburgh. Now we've got that around Fort Scott. We've got some reduced visibilities around Nevada and Stockton out there as well. So we're not dealing with widespread fog. We're dealing with patchy, dense fog out there. So just be cautious while you're driving this morning. You may not run into any, and then you may run into a stretch where you can't see 2 feet in front of you. So just slow down. Give yourself time to get where you're going. Just watch out there. Skywatch Storm Tracker clear in our area. Right now, what we're watching is our next opportunities for rain. You got this little guy here, but this is going to be our better opportunity. And look at that swirl just off the coast of California. Look at that low pressure system. Look at that system in general. That's what's going to be bringing us some opportunities for rain as we head into the weekend. Now, as I mentioned, for one reason or another, Joplin Airport is not reporting current conditions, but the last report this morning was sitting about 30. So around the region, though, we are, for the most part, into the low 30s out there, some upper 20s as well, Pittsburgh, Nevada, for example. So it is a bit of a cold start, and it's wild to believe we're going to go about 30 degrees warmer than where we are right now. It's going to be a nice one. Excuse me. For the first part of our day, Partly cloudy skies, some patchy fog out there. Fog will burn off, and then we'll go sunny and near 50 by late morning. As we head into the afternoon, highs around 60, low 60s again, definitely possible. Sunny skies across the area. And as we head into this evening, clouds will begin to increase. Partly cloudy through the evening. We'll go mostly cloudy overnight, and that is supposed to be not 63. I'm not sure why that says that. That should be 43. So I was apparently fat fingering some buttons. I'll fix that for you. 43 our low, so well above average tonight as well. So as we head into our Friday, and we're going to be mostly cloudy initially, and then by late Friday and into our Saturday, here comes that wave. So that low pressure system, if you follow the arrows way out to our west, but it will bring us rain chances, and they'll begin late Friday, run through our Saturday and into our Sunday. And we could have a rumble of thunder here or there. We're not anticipating any severe weather, anything like that, but the temperatures are going to remain warm enough that even though it's going to rain on us for a few days, we're not anticipating any wintry weather either, which is great news. 63 for us tomorrow. Maybe that's where I got that number from. I'm not sure. 65 on Friday, showers late, rain through the weekend, maybe a few more early morning showers on Monday. And see, our temperatures, they just briefly take a dip, and then they'll warm right back up as we head into next week, back into the 60s, mid-60s. So 20 some odd degrees warmer than where we should be, with some additional rain chances next Thursday and Friday. Let's check your forecast. We're back with Health Watch right after this.
Coming up, real contestants are willing to...
For only $15, all proceeds go to the animals at Southeast Kansas Humane Society. See you before the big game Sunday, February 11th.
Habitat for Humanity of Crawford County is currently accepting applications.
Stupid dress. And then it has like these weird... Okay. Yeah, that's probably better. Okay. You can see my cord, but... Topping Health Watch this morning, the Food and Drug Administration is updating its oversight of cosmetic products. The agency says it receives about 5,000 reports each year about health problems related to the use of cosmetic products. The FDA's authority to regulate cosmetics expanded late last year under the Modernization of Cosmetics Regulation Act, or MACRA. Regulators now require manufacturers and distributors to submit reports of serious adverse events related to cosmetic products directly to the FDA, and to do so within 15 business days. Before, reports were only voluntary. And the United States is dealing with an epidemic of sexually transmitted diseases. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says more than 2.5 million cases of chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis were reported in the U.S. in 2022. While cases of gonorrhea dropped compared with a year earlier, the number of syphilis cases increased 17% to its highest level in decades. The agency says it is looking for more innovative solutions to tackle the problem and come up with better prevention strategies. Public health experts want to target areas where cases are more prevalent. The CDC says that the highest rate of syphilis is among American Indian and Alaskan Native people, with about 67 cases for every 100,000 people. And an average of 17 people in the U.S. die waiting to get a new organ every day. What if there was another source of organs besides humans? Well, there may be. Pigs could be the future of human organ transplants. Recent advances in pig cloning and gene editing and a better understanding of infection control have led a handful of institutions to make breakthroughs. Those key steps could allow the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to sign off on a clinical trial in the near future. The FDA says such transplants show great promise, but also potential risks. Biotech companies are already raising pigs to try to solve the organ shortage crisis. They're using cloning and gene editing to create the pigs for transplants. The editing includes removing some pig genes and adding some human genes to make the pig organs a better fit for humans. And it's a vital fluid that has many different functions in the body. Blood transports oxygen and nutrients to the lungs and tissues. It forms clots to prevent excess blood loss, can help fight infection, and more. Testing blood can also help make sure that you're healthy and detect certain conditions. Mandy Gaither has 5 things your blood can tell you about your health.
In the doctor's office, it's not unusual for your blood to be tested. In fact, it's a critical part of making sure you're healthy.
We often forget about it, but it's really the foundation of everything that we do in medicine.
Pathologist Fiona Craig with Mayo Clinic says blood tests are not only important for routine health, but also for detecting when you're not healthy. One of the most frequently ordered tests is a CBC, or complete blood cell count. It can help determine white blood cell levels, which can signal an infection, and looks at how many red blood cells you have, which can determine if you're anemic.
There are additional tests that can be done to see if the anemia is because you are deficient in iron or some other nutritional factors. Or perhaps there's an underlying disease, and anemia is the first clue.
The level of glucose found in your blood can also determine if you're diabetic. Blood tests can also help doctors identify whether your kidneys and liver are working properly.
There are now tests to look for cancer cells or small amounts of cancer DNA that can be used for diagnosis and also monitoring for cancer in your body.
Before scheduling a blood test, Craig says to talk to your doctor to find out what's being tested and if there are any requirements. Sometimes you'll need to fast before the test. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And Dr. Craig says some might feel dizzy after giving blood samples and think it's because of the volume of blood being given. She says many times patients are only giving a thousandth of an amount of blood in their bodies, and she says that the dizziness is often due to anxiety about the blood test. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got another spring-like day across the area. Even though it's cold now, it'll warm up later. Another look at that forecast is coming up.
For any money for them the day after she said, I no longer work for her.
Judge Judy. Weekdays at 4 on KOAM TV.
Right now at 5:30, some local students learn about history by meeting with Civil War reenactors.
Now we've got a bit of a cold start out there this morning, even some patchy fog, but we're going to have another warm and sunny day today. And look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, a bakery in Pittsburgh is getting in the Super Bowl spirit with some Chiefs-themed cookies.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 5:31 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. So it's a bit of a cold start out there again this morning.
Yeah, it's a little colder, but we're okay. We're okay.
Believe it or not, we're going to warm up by about 30 degrees from where we are now.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, and we're going to be 20 degrees above where we should be for this time of year, as this spring-like pattern does not want to let go. Again, not that anybody's complaining necessarily, just saying it's hanging on for a little while. Let's take a quick look outside. This is the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line in Joplin. We are looking pretty good out there so far. And Skywatch Storm Tracker, relatively clear across the area. We got some clouds out to the east. Again, we have some patchy fog here locally. Got a little wave down here in New Mexico, but this guy is our next storm system. You can see that spin with that low pressure system off the coast of Oregon and Washington, and that's what's going to be bringing us our opportunity for rain as we head into the weekend. So here's a look at the fog tracker. We did have some dense fog around Pittsburgh earlier, but that has cleared up. Now we've got dense fog around Fort Scott, Nevada, and Stockton. So again, it is patchy. That's why we don't have any dense fog advisories or anything, but just be aware of that out there. Again, some kind of issue at the Joplin Airport. Joplin is not reporting current conditions, but it was sitting about 31 degrees at the last report, 28 in Pittsburgh. Kids getting on the bus this morning, we are looking at about 33, partly cloudy with some patchy fog out there. East breeze at about 5 to 10. By this afternoon, when that bus brings them home, southwest breeze 5 to 10 and about 58 degrees with sunny skies. Once the fog clears out, we are clear once again. Highs today back into the low 60s, so well above where we should be. We're going to talk about how long these warm temperatures last and about those incoming rain chances in the full forecast here in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Well, students at Pineville Elementary yesterday welcomed Civil War enthusiasts and reenactors. These guests were able to bring stories of what it was like for soldiers to fight and live in the Missouri, Arkansas, and Kansas areas. The reenactors also brought accurate clothing and gear used by both Union and Confederate soldiers. The teacher, Mrs. Johnson, says this is the perfect way for students to be introduced into an important part of our nation's history.
Opportunities like this where someone can come in all dressed up, they can see and touch things, makes it more real to them. Because let's face it, with all of the input they have from the world, history's kind of boring if you don't tell a story.
Students were able to touch and interact with all of the items brought to them. Johnson went on to say that these students will continue to ask questions for days to come. And Unity of Joplin met yesterday for their weekly Friends of Unity meeting. Members take advantage of the meeting to give back to the Joplin community. Yesterday afternoon, they did just that by cutting plastic grocery store bags into strips to create mats for the unhoused population of Joplin. The group stresses the role of prayer and hard work.
Prayer-based group, and everything else is kind of an outgrowth of that. But, and I would like to add to that prayer-based group that prayer is great. Get off your butt and do something.
Members also used yesterday's meeting to begin work on this year's Trunk or Treat event. And the Spiva Center for the Arts yesterday hosted an after-school art class for third graders. The themed artist was Laurel Birch, a contemporary artist who is known for her use of colors, patterns, and animals. The students were able to make their own rendition of a cat through their perspective with colors and patterns.
Art is the release of what's in your mind. It goes through your fingers and on your paper, so you can actually see what your passion is as you go. And there's no right or wrong. I mean, especially at this level, we're just wanting to get out that creativity.
These classes are weekly. They happen every Tuesday until May 21st from 4 p.m. to 5:15. And Crowder College kicked off Winterfest yesterday. The two-day event serves as a showcase for campus clubs and organizations. In addition to being a fun day and way to meet people, the event also serves as a way to impress potential employers.
I feel like just being involved. I love just like being a person everyone can go to if they have any questions about Crowder, and just being a helping hand. I say, yeah, just staying involved is the main thing, you know, why I stay so busy. So.
The event wraps up yesterday at 1 in the afternoon in the Student Center of the Neosho campus. And for many people, the Super Bowl is not only about the game, but also the food. One Pittsburgh bakery is helping Chiefs fans represent their team in a pretty sweet way. Celebrations by Lori is making Chiefs Super Bowl cookies with designs honoring players like Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and even Coach Andy Reid. They say the community is very supportive.
Well, we posted our special as soon as the game ended Sunday night, and within 1 hour we had sold out as many cookie orders as what we could fulfill, which was crazy. In literally 60 minutes, we had taken over 100 dozen orders for the Chiefs cookies.
And they will have a limited amount of Chiefs-themed cookies available to purchase in-store for those who are unable to order. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. President Biden says he has done all he can do about the migrant surge along the southern border. Plus, some workers from the UN agency in Gaza participated in the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
News is sponsored by Aaron Sachs and Associates, proud partner of Travis Kelce and his foundation, 87 and running.
Topping World Watch, President Biden says he has done all he can do about the migrant surge along the southern border in a situation he now acknowledges is a crisis. He continues to blame Republicans for not providing a legislative solution, and we are also getting new exclusive images of the situation on the ground and new information about the differences in enforcement from California to Texas. Correspondent Matt Finn reports tonight from Eagle Pass, Texas.
A Fox drone capturing truckloads of new fencing arriving in Shelby Park in Eagle Pass. Nearly every day, Texas is fortifying its razor wire barrier on the property while defying the Biden administration's demands to allow Border Patrol agents back in. Texas is no longer allowing migrants to freely cross into the park, where last month up to 4,000 a day were entering. Around sunrise today, migrants illegally crossed and climbed onto Texas's cargo container wall. Texas National Guard ordered them back to Mexico. The migrants did not comply, and Texas DPS arrested them for criminal trespass. At the edge of the park, the Rio Grande River is dramatically rising. Texas is pulling its massive cargo containers away from the water, which Texas DPS warns is potentially lethal for migrants to cross right now. Also on the southern border to the west in Jacumba, California, Fox was there as SUVs dropped off dozens of migrants who illegally breezed right through a border wall. A U.S. Customs and Border Protection source tells Fox News there were more than 1,300 Border Patrol apprehensions in the San Diego sector yesterday alone. 1,100 were single adults, with more than 160 from China and 120 from Vietnam. The San Diego sector has seen more than 100 Chinese nationals each day over the past week. And here in Eagle Pass, the month of January is typically a slower month for migrant arrivals. So as the weather warms up over the next couple of months, we'll likely get a clearer picture about whether Texas's razor wire barrier is ultimately deterring those record large groups we have seen here.
And a legendary Viking festival in Scotland with a new twist. For the first time in its 143rd year history, the legendary Up Hell Yeah festival in Lerwick, which celebrates the Shetland Islands' Nordic heritage, is allowing women and girls to join the main squad at the head of the procession through town. Participants dress as Nordic warriors and carry burning torches through the streets. Women have traditionally been restricted from participating in the procession and have taken the role as hostesses, which involves organizing the parties that take place in the community halls across the Shetland capital. And a man reportedly armed with a crossbow shot dead by police in the UK. The incident taking place in South London Tuesday. The man, who was in his 30s, was allegedly trying to force his way into a home and threatening to hurt several people inside. He was shot by police and died at the scene. A neighbor describing how everything unfolded. 2 residents inside the home received minor injuries. Fatal shootings in the UK are said to be very rare, with just 1 recorded all of last year. And following bombshell reports, some workers from the UN agency in Gaza participated in the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel. U.S. lawmakers are debating pulling funding permanently. Correspondent Connor Hansen has more from New York.
Israeli intelligence claims at least 12 employees of the UN's Relief and Works Agency were involved in the October 7th attack on Israel. According to documents, multiple UNRWA workers stormed into Israeli territory, participated in a kidnapping, and helped steal a soldier's body. The reports were concerning enough for the U.S. to freeze funding. The State Department says the U.S. has given around $121 million to UNRWA since October.
We are the largest donor, or historically every year have been the largest donor to UNRWA in the world.
The American people deserve to know why their tax money enabled the deadliest attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust.
Some House Republicans are pushing to stop funding the agency for good.
There has been long been a massive and irrefutable evidence of UNRWA's extensive complicity and cooperation in Hamas's anti-Semitic, genocidal hate campaign.
While some Democrats on the committee support the decision to freeze aid to UNRWA, they say it's desperately needed there.
If aid is cut or UNRWA is abandoned without a replacement or a different organization to fill that role, security in the region is further imperiled.
The U.S. representative to the UN called for major changes, but stressed the importance of the agency remaining in Gaza.
UNRWA has provided essential humanitarian assistance to the Palestinian people. They've literally saved thousands of lives.
So far, a total of 16 countries have pulled their funding from the agency.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dow Quick, and I'm inviting you on a holiday
of KOAM News Now and Durfelt Funeral Homes. It's more than a service, it's our ministry.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 546 coming up on 547 now on this Wednesday morning. This is a live look from our camera on the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. Clear skies and a bit of an east-southeasterly breeze out there. It is a cold start for us. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline also looking pretty good this morning. And here in just a moment, the KDOT camera south of Pittsburgh on 69 will pop up. And I suspect it's still looking pretty good, as it is. We did have some fog out there earlier. Some of that's burned off. Some of it may return. And we are dealing with some patchy patchy fog. As you can see from earlier, Fort Scott had 3 miles of visibility, now almost at 7. Nevada, Stockton still down a bit, so it is patchy fog across the area. You're not going to see it everywhere, but just keep that in mind as you are traveling this morning. Skywatch Storm Tracker is clear on the local level. We got this little wave down in New Mexico, and then as we head out to the west, you can see the swirl out there from this low pressure system as it's starting to bring rain into Oregon and Washington and northern parts of California. That's going to be what brings us our rain as we head into the upcoming weekend. Again, Joplin, some kind of technical error, not reporting current conditions at this moment, but temperatures around the region for the most part in the low 30s. We are seeing some 20s out there. Nevada, Pittsburgh, for example, into the 20s right now. So it is a cold start, but believe it or not, we're going to be about 30 degrees warmer as we head into the afternoon. So this won't last very long. We'll have some fog. It'll be patchy this morning, partly cloudy skies. We're going to make it near 50 by late morning once that sun gets out there and the fog, any of that burns off. We're looking at highs once again in the low 60s. Bear in mind our average highs are in the low to mid 40s for this time of year with those sunny skies across the area. Now clouds will increase tonight, and as we've discussed before, that kind of acts as a thermal blanket, keeps some of that warmer weather in. And so our temperatures tonight fall back into the low 40s, and that's where our highs should be. Our lows should be into the 20s for this time of year. So again, not that anyone is terribly upset by this news, but just to give you some perspective as to how far above average we are as we go through this week. Heading into Friday, we're going to have mostly cloudy skies, and then by very late Friday night, we're going to start to see some showers out there. Could see a thunderstorm or two. No severe weather out of any of this at this point, but a stray rumble of thunder will be possible. And this rain will stick with us throughout our Friday night, Saturday evening, Saturday night, Sunday, and it won't leave until probably very early Monday morning. So we're getting some much needed rain out there and a few days worth of it. I know it stinks that it's over the weekend. You know, we want to go out and enjoy these nice temperatures we've been seeing once we're off work, but unfortunately it's going to rain on the weekend, but at the same time we need the rain and we can't control when it gets here. We just tell you that it's happening. However, ahead of that, we're going to be breezy tomorrow. Could see winds gusting out of the south upwards of 30. More low 60s, low to mid 60s, mid 60s Friday, still mostly cloudy Thursday and Friday. Check out these lows though, into the 50s. Then we get into the weekend, and the rain and the clouds do bring our temperatures down a bit, still above average, but they'll bring them down just a wee bit. And then as we head into next week, we get partly cloudy skies. Those clouds increase later in the week. More showers by next Thursday and Friday looking to be possible, and temperatures returning back to the mid 60s out there. That's a quick check of your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
We make new smiles affordable for everyone.
Go ahead and smile.
Authorities in Indiana had a wild encounter with a literal menagerie of exotic circus animals after saving them from a semi-truck engulfed in flames. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
A rapid response to a vehicle fire temporarily turned an Indiana interstate into a surreal roadside circus. Grant County Sheriff's deputies responded to a trailer truck on fire, only to learn it was carrying nearly a dozen exotic animals from a nearby circus. After the driver was secured, deputies safely removed 5 zebras, 4 camels, and a miniature horse, turning the circus show on the road into a circus show on the road. Managing both the fire and the exotic mobile menagerie forced officials to shut down part of the interstate for a spell, but on the bright side, everyone was okay, and the deputies even got a chance to pose for some pics with the zany zoological highway hodgepodge. Mike, say cheese, Mike. Here's another exotic animal gathering. Hundreds of manatees were caught on camera packed into a marine wildlife refuge in Florida, reportedly the only of its kind in the world. Experts suggest recent mass migrations to inland waterways could be due to the mammals seeking warmer waters amidst the chilly weather. Nice drone video there. Speaking of which, a first-of-its-kind drone flying tournament in Vermont could be a goldmine of future aerial auteurs. Roughly 100 middle and high school students from multiple states showed off their piloting skills for the burgeoning buzzing tech in a series of team and individual events. And in a final first, say hello to Faith Freed, who at 15 years old may be the world's youngest female monster truck driver. Freed is following in her retired driver dad's footsteps, taking part in the recent Monster Truck Winter Nationals in Louisiana. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, those sure are some crazy events that are happening around the U.S. And stick around because we got more news coming up right after this.
KOAM News Now is looking for organizations that regularly distribute information.
Or visiting clickbeforeyoudig.com in the U.S. only takes minutes to do, and it can save your life.
A marketing group has estimated that the brand value of Taylor Swift's relationship with Kansas City Chiefs player Travis Kelce, and it's a pretty penny. It's worth more than $331 million to the team and the league. Apex Marketing Group's recent estimate spans the first time that she was seen cheering him on at the Arrowhead Stadium in September through January 22nd. Radio, TV, and social media exposures were tracked. Hits include any mention or photo of Taylor tied to the NFL or the Chiefs. Examples include a photo of her at the game wearing a Chiefs jersey or a mention of the Chiefs with her name in a news article. The media exposure has led to increased viewership for certain NFL games, and many Swifties are buying sports jerseys for the first time. And Starbucks announces new drinks that bring the taste of Italy to your favorite blend of coffee. Starting yesterday, Starbucks is offering olive oil-infused drinks. The drinks, called Olietto, debuted in some Italian stores last February and then popped up in a few California locations last spring. The olive oil-infused line includes Olietto Cafe Latte with oat milk and the new Olietto Golden Foam Iced Shaken Espresso with toffee nut. The coffee chain's former CEO, Howard Schultz, was inspired after a trip to Sicily, where he noticed residents drinking olive oil daily.
And we've got ourselves another spring-like day out there. We do have some patchy fog. It's not widespread, but just be aware of that. Should be gone by about 9, and then we will be sunny by late morning and near 50. Highs today, once again, 60, low 60s out there. Sunny skies, another beautiful day, and about 10, 15 degrees above normal out there. Clouds increase tonight, and as they do so, they form that blanket, and our lows tonight much better into the low 40s, but bear in mind, our average highs for this time of year should be in the low 40s. So we are significantly above average out there and will remain so. Breezy tomorrow, south winds gusting upwards of 20, 30 miles an hour out there. Low to mid 60s on Friday, mostly cloudy again. Showers move in late, and those will continue through the weekend and potentially into very early Monday morning, maybe even a rumble of thunder or two, but just to reemphasize, no severe weather is expected. Does cool us back just a little, but we stay above average. We head into next week. We're going to see another round of rain by the end of next week, and temperatures returning 20 degrees above normal into the low to mid 60s. Let's check your forecast. Got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Prearrangement, the thoughtful decision. Call us